Oh. This orange is such high vibration. It's really good for me. I've got orange and potato chips in my mouth. It's kind of a weird combination. Never done that before. Chewing thoroughly, I think, is a higher vibration way to eat. Okay, sorry. Welcome. So today, I want to talk about diet. Because a lot of people talk about diet when they talk about high vibration. And it's definitely a useful thing to think about. But as far as diet goes, one of my favorite quotes about diet is that you should pick any simple diet that works for your constitution and then forget about it, because spiritual awakening happens through having a pure heart, not through a pure stomach. That being said, everything is basically made of vibrations. So it would make sense that if we're literally putting those vibrations into our mouth and those are becoming our body, that if we want to raise our vibration, we should think about putting things into our mouth that are very high vibration. So what is the highest vibration diet? Well, the highest vibration, the highest way to live, is actually drawing cosmic energy directly into the body. That's how people live in higher ages. That's how a number of saints have lived. There have been a number of people throughout history in different cultures and times who've been able to survive without eating physical food. And it seems like a miracle to us, but again, they're living at a higher vibration. The laws that we're subject to don't apply to them. They're able to work more directly with more subtle energies, higher vibrational energies. All of us should always hold that as a possibility for ourselves. Really break the habit, break the thought habit that you have to have food to survive. Really let go of that completely. You survive on direct divine power flowing through your body all day long, every day. We're in an ocean of divine energy and power all around us. It's ours. It is our true self. That's what sustains us. That's what nourishes our body, keeps our mind going, our heart going. A step down from that, there are the people who eat air and absorb light, like eat sunlight, like open their mouths toward the sun and like let the sunlight, the prana, the energy from the sun, infuse their body. And a step down from that, when it comes to actually eating food, in the yogic tradition, the highest foods, the most sattvic, the most elevated, the highest vibration foods are fresh fruits and nuts. And I've gone, occasionally I'll go through a period where I am just eating fruit and nuts for just a few meals at a time. And it is a very, very powerful experience. It can be a somewhat expensive diet to be on, but they say that those are the highest vibration foods. And for those of us who still are going to eat more foods than that, basically it's fresh fruits and vegetables, as much fresh fruits and vegetables, lots of leafy greens, just fresh, simple food. The more that food is cooked, the more that food is heavily spiced, that tends to get lower vibration. Of course, food that's processed, the manufacturing and big ag farming practices and stuff, they really completely deplete the life force. So if you can, as much as possible, support your local farmers and farmers markets, or better yet, grow your own food at home. If you have a conscious connection with the plants that are growing food, the plants will create the food for you that will nourish your body in the correct way. That is a very high vibration way to eat. And also all the farmers that I know, and when I've had the blessing of being able to farm more regularly, I've always found that as I'm out in the farm, I'm just constantly eating. It's like I'm just having this conversation with the plants. I'm taking care of them, and I'm taking nutrients into my body, and I hardly have a need to like have a set meal. And it's also an old saying in India that you should eat a little bit frequently, and that's you provide a more sustained flow of energy to your body throughout the day, instead of having like these big influxes of like lots of food and then no food for 3 or 4 or 5 hours. But that having small amounts and more frequently is easier on the digestive system, provides a more steady rhythm throughout the day. Along with processed foods, of course, lots of sugars, foods that are really physically heavy and dense are heavier, lower vibration foods. And of course meat. Meat's a big one, especially the way that most of the meat is harvested in our society. Factory farms, the animals live horribly degraded lives. They do have emotions, they do feel, and then being led to the slaughterhouse, there's the vibration of killing, of butchering. The animals are filled with fear and anger and pain, and their bodies become infused with that vibration. And when you eat meat, you're putting that vibration in your body too. And this is just information on how you can take your next step. Again, just recognizing where you are and what's your next step. For years, I was adjusting my diet. I was constantly eating more vegetables and less processed food and less meat. At one point I had the thought, I might become a vegetarian someday. And I did a few years later, and it's been incredibly beneficial for my body, for my constitution. It's really helped in a number of ways, and it's definitely helped my meditation, my spiritual practices. And even being a vegetarian, I'm still looking at ways I can eat more salads, more leafy greens, and less of the heavier foods and carbs, bread, cereal, and I'm trying to focus more on proteins and fruit and vegetables. But again, I don't think about it, I don't worry about it all that much. And also I try to cultivate a relationship with what my body's craving, not what my taste buds are craving, because my taste buds are always craving chocolate. And that's actually not very helpful for me spiritually to eat lots of chocolate. A little bit, yes, it is helpful spiritually, but not a lot. So and also there's things like sprouting grains, beans, nuts, seeds before you eat them. That also unlocks a lot of vitality, unlocks life force. And there is a lot of information out there about high vibration diets, and I tend to see lots of more specific things like these things are high vibration and these things aren't, and it can get a little confusing. But so I try to keep it really simple. Fresh fruits, vegetables, nuts. If you can get humane raw dairy, that is actually a very uplifted food, very high vibration food. Milk is what the mother creates for her child, and mother always loves her child. If it's from happy animals, it's infused with that motherly love, that caring, that nurturing sense, and it's deeply nourishing, especially those of us that are vegetarian. And so like that, and then very fresh cheeses like paneer. And it's interesting, one of the reasons that so many people do have troubles with dairy in this culture is because look at the dairy, look at where it comes from, look at those poor animals, what kind of vibrations, not to mention the chemicals, are going into that milk. And then that's the vibration you're putting in. And that's not high vibration. So of course people have issues with that. So again, as much as you can have a conscious relationship with your food, and even if it's just choosing organic, choosing fair trade whenever possible, it's a step in the right direction. So again, without shame, without blame, without criticism, just recognizing, where are you? What is my diet like right now? And how can I take my next step? Maybe I can cut back on my sweets a little bit, cut back on my caffeine intake, cut back on my meat or my carbs, try to have a salad every day or twice a day. How can I get a little better quality foods instead of just going to the grocery store? What can I get at the farmer's market that I can use? So just making little baby steps like that is really a powerful way to grow. And as Yogananda said, go with slow speed. You'll get there sooner. But ultimately, like I said at the beginning, having the most uplifted attitude and consciousness that you can while you're eating, taking in uplifted vibrations around you through music, through art, things that are pure and uplifting and beautiful, that's also going to have an incredibly powerful effect on you, no matter what you're eating. Thanks for watching. Until next time, may your hearts and your stomachs be pure.